Welcome to our series, Leading Voices.
Welcome, everybody, to our Leading Voices series, where we're amplifying women's leadership in CX. I'm Ruth Rose, Vice President of Strategic Growth here at Transcom, and I am absolutely delighted to be joined today by Celeste Crocker, our Greenville Site Director here at Transcom, and she's a highly experienced leader in client services and operations. With over 20 years of experience in contact centers, transportation, as well as customer experience, Celeste has held senior roles driving operational excellence, client services, and large-scale transformations. And not only that, she's running a successful magazine called Motivate Magazine, which is gaining traction globally and is featuring many amazing celebrities and leaders. So today we're going to explore her leadership journey, her approach to building high-performing teams, and how her passion for inspiring young people through her Nothing's Impossible initiatives shapes her impact today. So Celeste, for a quick fire warm up, why don't you tell us what your very first job ever was?
Sure. So my very first job, and thank you for that amazing intro, Ruth. I really appreciate that. My very first job was with the JTPA in Salisbury, North Carolina, in which it was to help the community. It was one of those summer programs where I was the front office coordinator, where they put us in as far as training and developing us to the career path that we were on our way to as far as in high school. So that was my very first job.
That sounds amazing. So what is one word you would say describes your leadership style?
I would say servitude.
And why would you say that?
Because I love to serve others and to help individuals get to their next level and go to their next endeavor.
I just love that. There's so much that we do every day that is leading others, but we often forget that one of the main principles of leadership is serving others as well. So I just love that. So let's take it back a little bit. Why don't you tell us, Celeste, a little bit about how you got into CX in the first place?
I was actually in Georgia when I was very young. How I got into CX, I actually got into it when I took a course. I went to Georgia Tech and I wanted to experience customer service. Someone actually explained to me, you've already been doing it. Let's see, as far as taking courses on how to get into the CX area. Sometimes we just stumble into it. So for me, I felt like it was, hey, I wasn't thinking about it. I was working these odd and end jobs. I stumbled into it with a mentor by the name of Mr. Fisher, and he was stating, hey, you may want to take this course, and I did at Georgia Tech.
That's so interesting, Celeste, because so many of us, as you said, just kind of stumbled into this. We didn't go to college to work in the BPO industry or to work in customer experience. And I just find it so fascinating that you actually went to school and studied to be in customer experience as a career. So I love that story that you were so passionate about it early on. Is there a moment that you would say challenged you or really shaped your leadership career that you can reflect on and share with us?
There are several moments, but let me go back to this one that really shaped me in regards to where I wanted to really be that servant leader and to help others. It was a time where I had a very difficult leader myself. And what made me want to shape in the way that I led other people is, we've had good leaders, we've had not so good leaders. I knew that what I learned from them is what I didn't want to do with my team. I would say that my pivoting moment was 12 to 15 years ago that shaped my journey on how I wanted to become a better leader. I was at a point where I went through a difficult challenge. That was just a pivotal moment for me. And at that time, I was having a difficult moment with a leader that was not very empathetic. And I wanted to ensure that I gave that same empathy to my team and show them that just because we're in positions, that we still look at people as people and not just numbers. I also, at that time, lost my father. I went through a divorce, and me and my children had actually experienced being homeless. And I wanted to show people that, nothing's impossible. And that's where the nonprofit came in, Nothing's Impossible. But that really pivoted my life, going through those challenging moments and also having to lead individuals but how I would lead individuals to know that they had a leader that cared.
I think there's two really powerful lessons in there. One, oftentimes, especially as women in leadership, we feel like we have to separate our personal lives from our professional lives. And oftentimes there are very, very strong lessons that we learn personally that we can apply in our professional lives as leaders to show empathy to our teams in the workplace. And secondly, one that I feel personally very passionate about is we often learn about the types of leaders we want to become by learning from those that we never want to be like and how they treat others and the actions that they exhibit as leaders themselves. So I just love those lessons that you shared. You talked a little bit about your mentor earlier in our discussion. Can you share a little bit more about him and the impact that it had on you in your own leadership?
Well, I can tell you it's when you're looking at a leadership journey and mentoringship, I had several. So just wanted to highlight him because he started me on that journey of CX, and that was years and years ago. So I always like to mention his name. But going into the leadership and the mentoringship, I want to really highlight one of my dear friends, I would say now. Her name is Lydia Hennick, in which where I stepped into the transportation area. She was younger than me, but she was, one of those leaders that when I first came in and I was like, hey, she really pointed out my flaws because I did something that was wrong, right? And I was like, hey, I saw the power in this little redhead lady. And I was like, do you mind being my mentor? And shaping me to where I can get to the next level in this company. And what she did is she took the time, because I was told that I was the only one that ever come to her to ask that. She took the time to sit down and go step by step to train me on areas of opportunity that I could better myself in, and also to actually learn the business. And I thought that was so amazing. On this journey, as we continue to grow in each level of our lives, in our customer experience or in whatever role we take, we're going to have several mentors. That is the one that really changed my perspective on leadership and how I would lead people.
So when you think about paying it forward, Celeste, today, and as we wrap it up, what advice would you give to help women advocate for themselves in the workplace today as you advocated for yourself as you were coming up the leadership ranks?
I would say give yourself grace. That's so important. And also stand on what you believe. So let your yes be yes and your no be no. And that's the advice that I would tell you over and over again. And always believe in yourself, because nothing is impossible that you can overcome.
Two very, very powerful pieces of advice. Thank you, Celeste. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. We appreciate your time, and we wish you all the best in your continued leadership journey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.